Hello everyone. Uh, Again, I am with two concepts, that is MDG and SDG. That is MDG for Millennium Development Goal and SDG is for Sustainable Development Goal. Sustainable, sorry, Sustainable Development Goal is easy. It's we all know Sustainable Development Goal. So I have already taken this syllabus. So from concept from Unit 9. Okay. So what is Millennium Development Goals? That the United Nations Millennium Development Goals are 8 goals. So 8 goals are in United Nations Millennium Development Goal. They try to achieve by the year 2015. So already it's as if as much as the target. So for in exam that question may become that in which year this target is achieved. This is year the Millennium Development Goal is achieved in 2015. So who is the owner? That is Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan is the during that time Kofi Annan is the president. Was opened by the Millennium Summit was opened by Kofi Annan, and the United Nations Millennium Development Goal when it was signed. So United Nations Millennium Development Goal it was signed in September 2000. So in September 2000 it was signed, and the target was up to 2015. And here MDGs include 8 goal, 21 targets and 60 indicators. So I'm going to explain all about this. Very important. You may write it in your copy, you may remember it, or you may listen it. So 8 goal, 21 target and 16 indicators for measuring progress between 1990 and 2015 when the goal measured expected to be met. So Millennium Summit was opened by Kofi Annan, who was Kofi Annan, the Secretary General of United Nations. So UN Secretary General as Kofi Annan. So I have a small tricks to remember these 8 goals in exam. 8 goals asks to means you need to identify. So means at first I'm explaining that what are these 8 goals. First one is to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. Second, to achieve universal primary education, and third, to promote gender equality and empower women. So first one is to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. Second is to achieve primary education. Primary education, you know that primary education, to achieve primary education. Then third, to promote gender equality and women empowerment, to empower the women. So it's in United Nations. Okay. Then fourth is to reduce child mortality. To reduce child mortality. Then the fifth, to improve maternal health. Maternal health means to increase the woman's potential, to improve the woman potential. Then the sixth, to combat HIV/AIDS, malaria and other diseases. Combat means to fight with. Combat HIV/AIDS and malaria and other diseases. 7, to ensure environmental sustainability, and 8 is to develop a global partnership for development. So it's 8 goals already explained. So I have a small tips that पहले हमारे इंजीनियर गोविंद चौधरी ने हमारे देश की इक्विपमेंट प्रोवाइड किए. इट मे बी लिटिल बिट मीन्स फॉर फन, बट इफ यू यूज दिस थिंग यू मीन्स easy to identify during exam. That means पहले it's for poverty, isn't it? So number one goal is to eradicate extreme poverty. So pehle it's for poverty. Then hamare it's achieve universal primary education. So third one is promote gender equality and empowerment. Fourth one is reduce child mortality. Fifth, improve maternal health. Then 6, combat HIV/AIDS, malaria and other diseases. And 7, ensure environmental sustainability. And 8 one is a global partnership for development. When all these 8 goals are achieved, then a global partnership for development. Now about Millennium Development already explained. So these 8 goals already achieved by that United Nations, and so it's 2015 target already achieved. So now about Sustainable Development Goal. what is Sustainable Development Goal, that is SDGs, that SDGs are collections of 17 global goals. So it's collection of 17 global goals by United Nations General Assembly in 2015. So when 2015 Millennium Development Goal achieved, then Sustainable Development Goal means again steps. So United Nations General Assembly in 2015 SDGs collect 17 global goal. So what it is that transforming our world, that is up to 2030 agenda for sustainable development. This has been shortlisted to 2030 agenda. So up to 2030 sustainable development goals each taken by the United Nations. So what are there in exam question arise that when this up to transforming our world up to in which year, that 2030. Then achieving all 169 targets, world would signal accomplishing 17 goals. So what are 17 goals? That in 1972 government Stockholm, Sweden for the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment. All these are goals are there to improve our overall our nation. Okay. So in 1972 Stockholm, Sweden for the United Nations Conference on Human Environment. Now another important concept from Sustainable Development Goal, Brundtland Report. When Brundtland Report took place, it's in 1983. So in 1983, Brundtland Report are called Our Common Future. Publication released in 1987. It's a very long year. So in publication released in 1987 by the World Commission on Environment and Development, that is shortly WCEP, World Commission on Environment and Development. Then they introduced the concept of development and describe how it could be achieved. It could be achieved up to the 2030. Who sponsored this report? It's sponsored by United Nations and shared by the Norwegian Prime Minister Gro. It's Brundtland. So that is Brundtland Commission. It's 1983. It's by Norwegian Prime Minister Gro Harlem Brundtland. Okay. It's very important for exam that sustainable development goals, small concept I am explaining here, and what these terms I use here is very important for your exam. Then who sponsored Brundtland Commission? So Norway Prime Minister Gro Harlem Brundtland. You can Brundtland picture you may search in your own website. Then in 1992 the first United Nations Conference on Environmental and Development, that is UNCED on Earth Summit, was held by Rio de Janeiro. Where Earth Summit held? It was by Rio de Janeiro, where the first agenda for environment and development, also known as Agenda 21. What is Agenda 21? It's important. In 2012, UNCSD, also known as Riot 20, was held as a 20-year fellow up to UNCED. It is up to 20 years fellow, so UNCED. Then Colombia proposed the idea of sustainable development goals at a preparation event. Who used this sustainable development goal as a preparatory event, as a preparation event? It is by Colombia. Then Indonesia in July 2011. At Rio Plus 20 conference, a resolution is known as Future We Want. So was released by the member state of United Nations. So sustainable development goal important up to when? It is up to 2030. So that must two concepts explain I am here with Millennium Development Goal, Sustainable Development Goal important. 8 goals are in Millennium Development Goal and the Sustainable Development Goals are 169 target. 169 targets in Millennium Development Goal. So it's important. That must. Thank you. Take care.